How's everybody doing? This is Rocky Romano. I am glad to be here. I'm the author of Rock Bottom, The Heroin Addict Next Door, and because this kind of hits close to home, the title of the message today is What to Do as a Family or a Spouse when the addict or alcoholic gets out of recovery. So you might want to bring the family together on this one, and I'm going through this myself with a family member. So guy's been in recovery, or lady's been in recovery for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, or a year. And the entire family knows they're returning. So what does that look like? And I would suggest you guys get with a counselor, somebody that's well-versed in recovery, and you're going to have to set some ground rules. Support this person in their recovery process, going to meetings, because remember, recovery comes first, because without their sobriety, nothing else is going to matter. So supporting them, possibly giving them rides to meetings, encouraging them that recovery does come first. Another big issue is getting all the booze out of the house. If you have people that drink in the house, I would suggest that they don't do that around them. The first year of recovery is key. It's huge. So those of us that attend meetings, and every time there's a 1-year celebration, the whole crowd goes nuts. So really, really important that you don't drink. You wouldn't want to cause a brother or sister to stumble. So don't do that. If you're going to do that, you're going to have a few drinks, you're a normie, is what we call a normal drinker. Go out and do it with your friends. Keep in mind that this person, an addict or an alcoholic, is learning how to live without a crutch or 2 crutches. A friend of mine says, heck, man, I don't need a crutch, I needed a stretcher. So a lot of us end up in pretty bad shape, and so we're using this when we're happy, we drink, when we're sad, we drink, and it just becomes a way of life. So learning how to live life on life's terms becomes quite challenging when you get out of recovery, when you start feeling all these emotions: joy, sadness, happiness, being elated, being overwhelmed when the winds of adversity are blowing and you got a lot going on, trying to get a new job, reestablishing a life that you once had that seems so foreign to you. It's crazy, but doing everything sober is quite a challenge, from hugging your wife to kissing your wife to telling her she looks great, and feeling these emotions which we are supposed to feel, and those types of things. So you're going to have to establish some ground rules, and very important for the family to do. So a list of things that you guys are willing to do, and things that very firm rules that this is what we are going to condone and this is what we don't condone. So anyway, it seems very fundamental and rudimentary, which it is, but very important that the entire family is on the same page. And this really is, you guys, this is a life and death situation, period. If this person does not stay sober, it's all going to go bad. So everybody needs to be all in on this and supportive to the extent that they are exercising the things that they learned in recovery. They need to keep doing these things. And so what I wanted to comment about that, I saw a comment on my YouTube channel, and somebody said that, religion might work for you. Well, I can tell you from my own experience, I am not religious. I can tell you Jesus Christ of Nazareth was not religious. He actually bucked the religious system, and they killed him for it. So people that have never read the Bible, that have never prayed, that they certainly seem to know a lot about it. But I can tell you one thing, that God is who he says he is. And I know thousands and thousands of people that will agree that they tried to quit, I mean, countless times. And you'll hear it often said that God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. So those of you that are a little bit, what I would do, if you think we're religious, I would pick up the Bible, read one book, just read John. And you might be surprised, because it says in the Bible that his word will not return void. It's the one book, there's 66 books in that book. It's the one book that you won't read, it'll read you. And it definitely is the Word of God, but it all starts with seeking God. And if you were out on a ship and you were on day 5 and you had no food, no water, and you were starting to get to the end of your self-sufficiency, and the sun was beating down on you, and you had birds circling around you and sharks swimming around you, I bet that you would call out to God. And so that's what guys like us and the people in recovery did. And guess what? He showed up. And it's real. And if you've ever experienced the presence of God, it is something you'll never forget. That's why guys like me, and you're out there in the audience going, this guy's preaching. I am not. I'm speaking at a church tonight. And you know what? I'm going to it says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. So I'm going to say so tonight. And thank God for what he did for me. So family members, you gotta get together with a counselor. Just to wrap up, make sure you're on the same page. Take him to meetings, support him in everything he does, with going to church, going to meetings, because it is a spiritual program. The quality of that person's sobriety is going to be contingent on their spiritual condition. That I know for sure. So keep the booze out of the house. If you do things with them, the funny part is I ended up, there's a guy named Jonathan Zenkai who was a recovery manager where I went at City Team. And, 4 years later, after I went to the recovery program, him and I were in a bar. We obviously weren't drinking, but we were there for a reason. We were eating lunch and watching a soccer game. And that never would have happened 2, 3, 6, 8 months into the recovery process. That first year is critical, and just know that. So if you're gonna go into a bar with somebody that's just getting back from recovery, make sure you're doing it for a reason. If they have the best burgers in town, go in, eat a burger, and get out. Personally, for me, I stayed out of bars for the first year, period. Any place with a bar, I was not going there. So get somebody who knows what they're talking about. And if you need to FaceTime with them, but get the family together, ask those questions that you want to know about, because really their life depends on it. So this is Rocky Romano, the author of Rock Bottom, the Heroin Addict Next Door. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and we'll continue to come out with some content. I don't have all the fancy stuff. I'd like to have a studio where I could, do some cool stuff, but who knows, maybe one day we'll do that. But as for now, just an individual guy trying to make a difference in the world. So remember, when you hit rock bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up.